There's a thing in business where when people think they can't reach their goals, they do this thing that's called settling. So, for example, let's say your goal is to hit $10,000 and you only hit $5,000. You're like, close enough, that's fine. That's what we call settling. Now, I've mentioned in a few videos previous to this that I haven't released yet, probably, about buying an Elvira pinball machine. Now, what's going on is I want that machine. I'm going to pay for said machine. I don't have the money for said machine outright. Now, most people, they would immediately go, I can't afford a $10,000 pinball machine. I wouldn't be able to even begin to make the payments on said pinball. And I'm just like, that's because you're not willing to do what it takes to get it. You'll hear a lot of rich people talk about do what it takes, but nobody really grasps that concept until they actually start doing the thing themselves. And what I mean is, if you're aiming for a $10,000 pinball machine, but I found myself doing this earlier, where I'm like, well, I could get a, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for $6,000. And I literally walk up to myself and go, no! It was just, poof, ow! Because here's the thing. That's settling. The second you start settling, it's your brain going into default mode. Because what's going on is, well, I can do that. That would be very reasonable. I can afford that. And you know what that says? That's your brain saying, I don't want to have to think of how to afford the $10,000 pinball machine. I want to do what's easy. And guess what? You don't get better and you don't get ahead by doing what's easy. You get ahead and doing better by getting the actual thing you were aiming for. That's why they don't settle. They have laser-like focus and they do what they have to do to get the thing done. And that's why I said I refuse to settle on this. I don't care what it takes. I'm getting that Elvira pinball machine. And to that end, I've already been looking at, okay, well, how do I increase my income to get to that level? What do I need to do? What skills do I need to develop? What do I need to change in order to get to a point where I can afford that? And guess what? Those changes don't go away after I got the first machine. That's what I'm getting at is, yes, I get the first machine. Cool, I got an asset worth 10 grand. Probably more in a couple of years. Number two, the income that I'd be making on a per month basis that went up is going to stay there. It's not going to just go away after the first one comes in. Also, everything underneath a 10 grand pinball machine becomes way easier to get because it's like, well, I've already developed the system skills and techniques and money I need in order to get these other machines because they're all cheaper than the first one I bought. And that actually makes it easier to justify, buying a TMNT and then doing all the other stuff. And the reason why I'm doing the Elvira is literally because it's the hardest one on my list, as it sits. Now, I know Elvira wasn't on my original list. I know that. If you go back and you look at the list, blah, 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 blah. It came up because I found out about it after the fact. I'm just like, yeah, that's leaving with me. But I started looking at my list and I'm going, there is nothing on here that's more expensive than 12 grand. All right, well, okay, actually no, 13 grand is the most expensive pinball machine on my list. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I can figure out the Elvira, everything else on my list becomes possible. That's why you don't settle, is because it's like, all right, well, everything on here is now available. It's something I could legitimately buy. Not only that, but I can figure out the logistics of, okay, well, I could get 2 of these machines for 8 grand and I'd still be under 10 grand at that point and increase that. Not only that, but I've been looking at, okay, well, running tournaments, that's something I want to do. I reached out to Stern Pinball earlier and I'm like, hey, attitude. All right, we can't process it right now, but we're more than happy to do it the second you get some machines on location. I'm like, literally, it was just because I'm like, yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna do the Stern thing at this point. That being said, I still want to develop a relationship with Spooky Pinball. I like what they're doing. I think they're going to have some bangers in the future. I can't say that for sure, but you know, I'm trying to work a deal with Spooky Pinball. I'm trying to actually work with the manufacturers myself. I want to cut out the middleman eventually and become my own distributor and also pinball location at that point. Being able not only to distribute, but also have my own game room and do all the big stuff. Because that's where a lot of people go wrong. They want to be a distributor or they want to be an arcade, but they only focus on one of those two things. I'm technically a wholesale business, so I really kind of need to do some actual wholesale. Somewhere along the line, that kind of has to happen. But yeah, all right, I've been yammering too long. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, hit that subscribe button. Things are about to happen, and do it now. Not later, do it now, because you're not going to want to miss what I got coming up next. Thank you, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.